Hello, everyone. I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha, and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. In this one, I wanted to speak about the difference between your intuition that's coming from the heart or from your body versus thoughts that are coming from your mind. I've been asked this question maybe 2 or 3 times in the last few days. So I'm guessing a lot of people are actually thinking about their intuition, which is a really good thing. I think the more you think about your intuition, the more you try to connect to your intuition, the stronger it becomes. What happens to a lot of us, the reason why we kind of start doubting our intuition or starting to move away from our intuition or using it, is because we stop using it. And it's the same thing as anything else, use it or lose it. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the more you trust it, the more you listen to it, the bigger it becomes. The voice that is inside of your mind or your heart, that intuitive voice, it needs to be heard. It's like a little child. It's actually probably a good way to describe it. It's probably your little inner child, your young one that has all this intuition in it, and it has all these things to tell you about your path, about what's the right thing to choose in different situations. But instead of actually listening to it, as we all do as adults, we kind of ignore the inner child. We ignore those voices inside of our heart, and we ignore our soul, we ignore our spirit, we ignore those things, and we pretend like we know better. Our mind knows better. And we follow our mind rather than our heart, and the more we follow our mind rather than our heart or our intuition, the less it speaks up. And like any child, you know that about children. At first they're really gung-ho and excited, and they'll ask you a billion questions. But then when they notice that you're not interested, they're like, well, I guess I'm not going to bother with this person anymore. And they just stop talking. And they'll just be in their own worlds, and they'll just do their own thing. Right? And so it's a very good idea to start building a connection with intuition over again. Because I believe that most children are very intuitive. They are naturally intuitive because they naturally trust their bodies. And they naturally trust their intuition as if it's the only thing for them to do. If they see a person and they don't like them, they just don't like them. That's it. If they see a dog and they think that he's the best dog in the world, even if it's 10 times bigger than them, it's a good dog, and they're going to go and pet him, right? And so, they trust their bodies and they trust their intuition in turn. But as we get older, we start mistrusting our body, or we stop trusting our bodies. I don't know why. We're told, I guess, by society to stop trusting it, and then we do all these terrible things to it, like dieting and not listening to, like when we're sleepy, we don't listen to it. We just keep on working. Or when we're tired, we don't listen to it. When it's telling you through pain, this is going on right now, your knee's hurting, stop running, we don't listen to it. No pain, no gain. I hate that, really. I really despise that line. But in general, we kind of push through all the signals that the body gives us. We ignore it, and the more we ignore the body, the more we ignore our intuition, and the more our intuition stops speaking to us. So the first step in general, as I think I've told you many times before, is to build that mind-body connection, is to start trusting your body again. To trust your body, because your body is not just an extension of your mind. It is actually more important in terms of intuition than your mind. Your mind is filled with thinking thoughts that are usually wrong. They're based on life experiences, they're based on past experiences, they're based on paradigms and biases and fallacies and all of these things. And if you've read anything about any of the biases that we have or any of the fallacies we have, the logical fallacies, you'll know how our brain is literally not thinking all the time. It's just kind of assuming things based on what happened in the past and making up new assumptions based on it, and just using assumptions as a way of living the world. It's not actually thinking things through, and not making any new assumptions or any new conclusions. There are no new conclusions here. They're just all based on past assumptions, right? And so, I do recommend that you go read something about that. But in general, the mind is really not the thing to trust. It's useful as if you're doing a calculus exam, or it's useful if you're driving, to think about, okay, should I turn here or should I turn there? But when you're trying to build your life path, or you're trying to figure out if you choose, especially when you're making important decisions, if you if you should choose A or B, a lot of times the mind is not the best thing. It'll make a pros and cons list, but really that's the best it can do. The best we should be able to do in that situation, we should try to do, is to come back to our intuition. So building that trust with your body, building that mind-body connection, understanding when your body is speaking to you, understanding the language that your body speaks to you in. Mostly it uses pain and pleasure, but a lot of times it can also use other things like, your gut instinct. That's where it comes from. It comes from your belly, it comes from your solar plexus, it comes from your gut. And so kind of like really understanding when your body is trying to speak to you and listening to it, not ignoring it, listening to it, understanding it and working along with it, trusting that it's telling you the right thing, that it wants to tell you is the right thing. I noticed this actually a lot in the people around me. I think this might be actually a very general trend in the world, that we just don't listen to our bodies. Our bodies are literally telling us, praying, begging, pleading with us and telling us something, and we just ignore it. I mean, this happens a lot when we're being unconscious. So like, for example, if we're eating something and it's delicious and we just want to eat all of it, and there's a huge plate of it, and there's no way our stomach can fit all that food, and we still keep on eating, and the stomach's like, no, please, no more, and we still keep on eating, right? I mean, that's the basic of it. But I notice when people around me, even when they're in pain, that literally their bodies are doubling up in pain, they still won't listen. They'll still just kind of pop a pill and pretend like nothing's happening. Like their bodies are literally trying to tell them something through their pain, and they're just like, yeah, no, I don't have the time for this. I'm going to pretend like it doesn't exist. I'm going to pretend like everything's fine. I'm going to take a pill. Everything's okay. Nothing to listen to. Just ignore that elephant in the room, and I'm just going to walk away, right? And so I notice this happens quite a lot in my family, and I'm just like, okay, stop for a second. What's going on? Why is this pain happening? What did you do? What did you eat? How did you sleep? Ask those questions. Figure out what your body is trying to tell you, so that your body can build that connection with you, that you can build that connection with your body and understand what it's trying to tell you, because these are the small things it'll tell you, and then the big things come from that, right? Again, another thing that I've mentioned to you before in terms of intuition is cycle tracking. To understand as a woman that you have cycles and your body's trying to tell you something through those cycles as well, and to understand what your body is trying to tell you, connect with it on a daily basis. Realize that there is a powerful intelligence in your body that a lot of us are ignoring because we believe our minds are more intelligent. Your mind is not more intelligent. It's not. It literally isn't. Your bodies are definitely holding a lot more, infinitely more intelligence than your mind is, okay? Yeah, your mind has a little bit of intelligence, but it's basically like cerebral. It's basically related to brain function. So like literally like maybe math or science or things like that. It's related to that kind of intelligence. But the real intelligence that matters, that is related to your body, right? And so building that trust is extremely important in intuition. Again, that's why I've spoken to you about grounding yourself, doing yoga or tai chi or qigong, or doing some kind of physical movement, dance or gardening that really helps you connect with the earth and connect with your body, connect with every part of your body. Doing a body scan meditation where you go through each part of your body and understand how it's feeling. A lot of times I'll be doing a body scan meditation and suddenly I'll release all this tension in random parts of my body that I didn't even know existed, right? And sometimes you probably have felt this when you've done an exercise that you've never done before, and all of a sudden you feel muscles and parts of your body that we're like, whoa, where did that muscle come from, right? And so there's lots to learn about our bodies that we don't. We just pretend like it's just an annoyance. Most of us treat our bodies like an annoyance. It's like, gosh, it needs to go pee again. God, I need to eat again. What? And so we just treat it like an annoyance. It's not an annoyance. It's actually there for a reason. We are not just this talking head. We are a body, right? And in fact, our bodies it forms more than, I would say 90% of our system is our body. And so it's obviously more important than our mind, which is just like this little portion of it, right? So stop behaving like a talking head and realize that your body is actually telling you something. Listen to it. And then from that, really our intuition becomes more powerful. Because the minute you start trusting what your body is telling you, the minute you start listening to it, actually doing what it's telling you to do. For example, I notice this a lot with me is that, in the afternoon around 2 p.m., I'll start getting sleepy. And I've been working, I usually get up at 5, so it's already been a very long day at that point. And I've been doing work and I've been writing and doing this and that. And eventually my body's like, all right, so I want a nap. And I'll just, so I'll literally start getting sleepy, and I'm like, no, I want to keep on working. And my body's like, no, I'm sleepy. And so literally I'm sitting there fighting with my body. Man, it's like, I just need a 15-minute nap. Like, can you just give me that? And nowadays, I'm really trying to be like, all right, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're tired. Okay, let's listen to our bodies. Let's sleep for a second. And it's usually 15, 20 minutes, and I'm back, and I'm like gung-ho and ready to go again. Just 15 minutes, right? I have the capacity to do it. I have the availability to do it. I just don't do it because I'm like, no, I want to keep on working. So it's as minor as that, as simple as that. Just listen to your body, listen to it, trust it, understand what it's trying to tell you. And little by little, you'll start listening to it in a more intuitive fashion, where it'll start telling you things, or you're standing in front of a person and your intuition is like, no, that person is not right for you. Do not go with them. And you'll be like, oh, all right, cool. Or, you'll be standing in front of this person and be like, this is the person for you. You're going to spend the rest of your life with this person. So better get used to him or her. And, you're like, all right, cool. And so you'll notice that, you're the voice of the intuition will become more and more strong. Your inner child will start speaking to you in a fashion where it knows that you're going to listen to it. So it's speaking, right? A lot of us don't listen. So the intuition's like, well, why bother? I hope this makes sense. I know it's a little bit abstract perhaps, but I really do believe this is one of the keys that a lot of us are missing. A lot of us, as I said, treat our bodies like they're an extension of our heads, and they're an annoyance, and they're always asking for things. And why do I have to go pee 3 times a day, or 5 times, or 10 times a day? Why do I have to eat 3 times a day? Why is this body always asking me for stuff? It's so annoying. I'm like, it's a body, it needs things. You're not a machine. I'm constantly telling my mother, you're not a machine, you need to rest. You're not a machine, you can't just take pills and pretend like nothing's happening. Listen to your body, right? So you're not a machine, people. You are a body, and your body is trying to tell you something, so please listen. If you have any questions about this, please comment below and I shall do a follow-up. It is an abstract concept, but I believe a lot of you will get it. I think I've been speaking about it long enough that hopefully you'll understand. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support, and I shall see you the next time around. Bye for now.